Hi everyone, my name is Gurdeep Singh, a member of SC Ventures by Standard Chartered. I'm based in the UK and responsible for creating new business models with clients in Europe and Americas. Today we are going to talk about a very topical subject, the rapidly changing world of supply chains, its challenges, and what corporates can do to address them. Managing and financing supply chains has always been a challenge for corporates and financial institutions, especially the smaller suppliers and SMEs. The disruptions caused to the supply chain over the last couple of years have once again put a spotlight on the issue. Can corporates and institutions take a different approach to tackle this industry wide problem? Let's find out from our two experts who have joined us today. Gautam Jain, a colleague and member of SC Ventures based in Singapore. Gautam has extensive background in transaction banking and currently looks after our investment activities, including creating ventures with partners. Welcome, Gautam. I'm delighted to be joined by Joseph Chua, the Deputy Treasurer of Lenovo, who runs Lenovo's treasury operations globally out of Singapore. He has treasury operations experience in both banking and corporate finance for over 30 years. Welcome both. Without further ado, let's straight away jump into the questions. Starting with you, Joseph. What are some of the strategic challenges and developments you are seeing in your supply chains, especially after the pandemic? And do you think the treasury function in corporates needs to take a different approach to tackle these problems?
Thank you, Gurdeep. So if I may just touch a little bit on the pandemic itself, that actually initiated the start of a perhaps, disruption in supply chain. So at the very beginning, it disrupted the manufacturing process. But today, what we are seeing is that the disruption is more widespread, especially through the logistic chain. So what is happening is that as people were locked down, people found different jobs. So we see that in shipments and in delivery there had been a longer cycle, and with a longer cycle in interest rate that is rising in an environment, we see that the cash conversion cycle of corporate is being stretched. So we are seeing that it's going to cost us more. All customers are asking for longer payment terms because we take longer time to deliver, and they also take longer time to deliver to the customer or the end users. So we are seeing challenges here because of difficulties in logistics and in a high interest rate environment that we are seeing today.
Thanks, Joseph. The second part of my question was, do you think, given this context, corporate treasurers need to take a different approach to tackle these problems?
Yeah, we think that there will be a need to actually embrace on digitization. And that is something that we actually went through at the very start of the pandemic because people are not, working in the office, they are working from home. So we started on all these electronic processes. Prior to that, our supply chain financing, we do it rather manually. In other words, it could be, going through file uploads and printing up manual signatures and so on. But we have gone through a phase where we gone through electronic signatures, communication, documentation, submission. So today we are in a digitized process where we can download our ARAP from our ERP and then download it into financing platform or bank platforms that allow us to actually go on, say, for example, financing solutions, which is actually more automated and actually a lot more efficient. Because in the past, it was quite manual and it creates a lot of workload and maybe even errors. And going forward, I see this is going to be continuing, or I would say that, the world is going to continue to have a need for more supply chain financing. So we see that, at the very start, let's say I'm dealing with my direct suppliers. I'm seeing that there is a need to actually go further down the chain. In other words, my tier two, my tier three suppliers or my manufacturers down the road. So I think that the solutions from just simple supply chain platform will roll into tokenization because we see tokenization as the only way that you can actually flow down to the tier two and tier three suppliers.
Thanks a lot, Joseph. Thank you very much for that context.
Thank you.
Gautam, coming to you. You have engaged a lot of treasurers and heard their challenges over the years. Has the magnitude of these challenges changed in recent times? And in that particular context, Joseph just gave us, what were the challenges which Lenovo was facing. When you engaged Lenovo, what approach or what different approach did you take to tackle the problem at hand?
Gurdeep, when it comes to challenges, I mean, there's no better articulation of the challenge other than the practitioner. Joseph articulated it really well. Couple of things I want to add. The challenges which we have seen in the past actually have become worse. And what you see is that as the world gets more globalized, supply chains become even more dispersed, right? So you don't have a simple supply chain. OEM manufacturer for an end product could be in multiple jurisdictions, in multiple countries, in multiple legal environments. You couple them with what we are seeing in the world. Joseph touched on pandemic. Let's not forget the war in Ukraine, which is like causing huge disruption to supply chains, especially in the area of food. And the impact of any little disruption in the supply chain is widely felt, as we are all experiencing. Is this going to get better going forward? Well, we all hope so, but I doubt so as well, right? So you see, the other thing which you also have to consider is if you don't have a full visibility of supply chain, you cannot determine the impact your end product is going to have because your tier four supplier is having an issue. Those things just keep rippling both up and down. So to manage the supply chain from an end-to-end perspective continues to be a challenge. And we really need to solve for this because otherwise, the world might not be in a very happy place, and there are live examples as we see. Now, when we started working with Lenovo, one of the primary goals for what we wanted to do, and I'd love to hear Joseph's views after this, is that not only we wanted to digitize the supply chain, we wanted to provide full visibility of the supply chain in an automated way to Lenovo. That was the challenge, right? And once you provide that visibility in the full supply chain, well, we are tier two, tier three right now, but we will continue to onboard more suppliers. How do you also open up that supply chain in a marketplace kind of an environment to the existing finances of Lenovo so that everybody is on the same platform, is working towards the same view, and is always on the same page? That is the challenge we had, and that is what we try to solve for with Joseph and Joseph's team's help.
Thanks, Gautam. And I understand that's what gave birth to the, I would say, new business model idea, which is Task Connect. Can you tell us more about Task Connect? What is the Task Connect solution and what has been the progress to date?
So Task Connect solution is in very simple terms is a workflow orchestration platform which creates an ecosystem between the anchor, the suppliers, and the financing institutions in a fully automated digital way, but more importantly, catering to the existing processes of the anchor. Because technology, any implementation of technology always becomes a challenge when you try and fit the technology solution into, or when you try and change the existing process to fit into a technology solution which you are developing. We took the other way. We took the totally different approach. We developed a technology solution which was tailored to the anchor so that the implementation of the technology solution becomes very, very easy because Lenovo wouldn't have to change their treasury processes, right? At the end of the day, we want to make the life easy rather than more difficult, right? So that is the approach we took. So Task Connect has been live for about 4 months with Lenovo as our anchor client. And we are going great guns, and Lenovo has processed like multiple billions of dollars of invoices on that platform, and more to come.
Thanks, Gautam. Thank you very much. Joseph, I'll shift the gears, back to you, which is having gone through this experience of creating, I would say, let's say, a different solution or co-creating a solution with a bank, Standard Chartered and SC Ventures, what has been your experience throughout this journey? And also, if you were to give any advice to the corporate treasurers listening to this call right now, what advice you would give them in terms of how to think about different solutions and how to think about engaging banks?
Yeah, I think what we have gone through is something that, like I said, it was through the pandemic, we see a need for more efficient and more, digitized process. So for other corporates or treasurers, I would say do embrace on digitization because you will find that you have actually operational efficiencies in your treasury operations, which I think will cut down costs. And it's also aligned to the market because today, there is always the work from home force that you need to be able to communicate or to link up. So with digitization, you're able to connect your treasury team. It doesn't matter whether it's at home or in the office or even across globally because we run global operation out of Singapore. So we need to have connectivity to my colleagues around the world, essentially where we have treasury people. So for that itself, we also find that you also want to accept solutions either on a bank-based platform or even on independent platform, like for example, Task Connect and so on. And that will actually find that you will be able to improve price discovery, better independence from one single bank providing you the solutions. You will find that banks are willing to come into the platform, and effectively you are able to reduce costs because you have now a market that is open to any banks or any of financial institutions that are interested in providing you a better solution. So in a way, you are able to improve and get better pricing, better efficiencies along the way. So it has been a very good experience, and I would say we find the efficiency very, very useful for us. So we hope people will go along this route.
Thank you both. I have a closing question for both of you. In this conversation, we have talked about obviously the large corporates, the anchors. We have also talked about the financial institutions. I would love to get your thoughts on what does it mean for the small suppliers, which is one of the, I would say, parts of the ecosystem who all are also looking for solutions. So in this current construct, how has it benefited, or how do we expect the small suppliers in the ecosystem to benefit? Any one of you can go first.
Well, I think that's what I mentioned at the beginning, where I think, we got to help our tier two, tier three, tier four suppliers because initially, obviously, we start with a tier one, the one that directly facing us, but we know that they also do subcontracting work. And we saw that they were having, I would say, liquidity problems. So we want to reach out to them. And like I said, at the very start, we were not able to do it except in small scale in a manual process. But with the advancement of this platform, we see the next step is tokenization, where we think you can tokenize or even digital currencies that is enabling you to finance your tier two, tier three suppliers. That's how I see going forward. And I see a lot of value in enhancing this platform or even going along this idea or solutions.
Okay, so as I was saying, like Joseph, once again, we agree on the benefits of smaller suppliers on the Task Connect platform. Better visibility to their invoice status, better access to working capital, helps them manage their operations much more efficiently than they would have done in a non-digitized way. I think, as you rightly point out, next step is tokenization, through which we can do deep tier financing and actually get the flow of liquidity from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4 suppliers. And I think that would be the holy grail of supply chain financing. So, we are looking forward to continue to working with you to develop this functionality on Task Connect and make it, probably the best platform for supply chain financing in the world.
Yep, looking forward to that too.